Hey everyone, this is Wei and welcome back. Now for this video, I'm going to show you some key points about the nose so that you can draw and shade a nice looking nose in multiple angles. So let's get started and I'll talk about the process along the way. Alright, so let's draw the nose. Now the nose is actually it's complicated because the form is actually very complex, and because of the lighting it makes it even harder. So just looking at the front, okay, if we were to simplify the nose, right? Just imagine this the front view. If we were to simplify it, we can do kind of like this. This would be like the wing of the nose, right? And then you got your nostrils in here, two nostrils, and then you have kind of like the center of the nose. And this is it's kind of round, right? So it's kind of bulbous. So in the simplified version, just lines, you can actually just draw the nose like this, and then it would just kind of go up, right? You have a little bridge with the nose. So this is very kind of like a line art. Now if we want to shade it, there's some tricks to it so that we can make it a very convincing looking nose, like just very default lighting, as if it's coming from the top, right? Just normal lighting. So because this is round, you have this one area right here, and then you have the the wings of the nose. They're all kind of round, but the center one is the biggest one, right? So we're gonna shade this as if it's like a ball. So we can actually do something like this. Let's just say the highlight is right in the middle, so that's very generic. Maybe slightly off to the side a little bit to be a little bit more interesting. And then these two areas right here is kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit flatter. So you can actually shade it like this. Okay, here's the edge. So this edge right here is dark because it's curving away, right? It's kind of like if you look at a ball or something, right? The edge of the ball, it's dark. It curves away. So that's why it's dark. So we can make this dark like this. Okay, and then this is dark. And then underneath is dark too because it's not catching any of the light. But here's the key to making a convincing nose. We get bounce light from the bottom. So let's say the light is right around here, right? So it's gonna catch a shadow, and this is important because it's actually the shadow right here that actually really makes the nose look correct. So imagine this is a shadow, okay? And remember, the shadow is always darker than things in the shade. So like this bottom part right here is in the shade, but the shadow right here is dark. So we're gonna make this dark. And I'll explain why right after this. Let me just shade this in real quick. Okay. Now the reason why the shadow area right here is darker than this, even though in this area is in the shade, is because this bottom part here gets a little bounce lighting, from the face and maybe from the environment. So that's why you get this this area is lighter. And by having that contrast where underneath the nose is dark and this is lighter, it gives it a three-dimensional form. So I'm going to shade this a little bit better. So this would be darker, right? Because it's kind of like this is what they call the terminator, where the light ends. So we do that, and I might exaggerate this a little bit. I mean, usually you don't get that much bounce lighting, right? But I'm going to exaggerate it so you can see a little bit better. And then this is kind of bulbous, so we can do that. Okay, and then now the nostril, we can make this really dark because it's getting nothing. There's absolutely no light in there. Okay, and then this part right here goes inward, right? This curls in a little bit, so this can be dark too. Not as dark because it's coming back out. Okay, so let's see. If we keep shading, we can make this a little bit rounder. Just a little bit more shading gives it a little bit more life. And then the edge, we can all figure that out. So if we go up, it's kind of you have the bridge. So it's going to catch, your highlight would be right around here. So this would be dark. Not as dark because, it's an angle, it's coming out this way. Okay. So just by doing something like that, now you have kind of a nose, right? So we want to simplify this. Let's say we don't want to shade all this stuff, right? Which is quite a bit of shading. We can start out with, again, with the, let's see, where am I right now? Okay, well, I can do it down here. Let's say we're going to start out with the simplified version again. We can just do this. The two wings of the nose, nostril, and then you have the center, right, which is like a ball right there. And then if you want to shade it, it's actually very easy. You just kind of go, just shade around the terminator, you know, where the light ends. Just right around there. And then underneath the nose, just shade it a little bit. So this would be like your quick and dirty kind of nose, right? So it's just in a very few, you know, sometimes you don't want to shade as much for whatever reason, and you just want to do a simple drawing. You know, you can just do a nose like that. Okay, so it's actually pretty easy, and the key is the reflective lighting on the bottom. Okay. Now, just another note on the nose is it is complex when the lighting gets a little bit tricky. So, you know, if you're gonna draw a nose, just try to work from reference. It's a lot easier. Okay. All right. So let's do the 3/4 view now. So let's say the nose is coming through the 3/4 view. Now we have the ball right here, right, the tip of the nose. Okay, and then we're gonna have the nostrils right here, and then this is the wing of the nose, right? And then we can make this dark here because it's curving away. And then the nostril, we can make it dark, right? We'll just kind of shade that in, give us a reference point. And then this part, sometimes you see an edge right here and sometimes not. It just depends on, like, you know, at what angle and how round the nose is, right? Let's say there is, so I'll just do a little edge. And sometimes you actually see the other side of the nose, the wing of the nose. Just a little bit, right? Because it's kind of like 3/4 view. So we can do this. Let's give that some shading. The edge is fading away, so it's gonna be a little bit darker. And so is this. Okay, fading away, it's darker. All right, and then the highlight, let's just do it right around here, same as that one. And then now we can shade it, kind of like, well, here's the ball again, right? And then right here, you're gonna have the terminator again for this little area right here. And depending on, you know, how you know, round this wing of the nose is, you might get another highlight there, but usually, you know, you only get one highlight right in the tip. All right, so now we have that. We can now do the shadow part, which is what makes the nose come alive, right? So now you have the center nose, this tucks in a little bit, okay? And then we're gonna go with the shadow. Let's just do a little shadow kind of like that again. And then we're gonna make this dark. And I am using a 4B graphite pencil. All right, so we make this shadow darker than this part, which is in the shade. And again, you can kind of feel the shape of this, right? The nose. And it's this bounce lighting that makes it more believable. All right, so the nostril is dark, so we can hit that. Okay, and then this tucks in, so it's gonna flatten out. So it's a little bit lighter. Okay, so now we have that. Let's fix this this area right here. Darken up the terminator a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. And this is what really gonna sell this form. Because without this terminator, it's gonna be relatively flat looking. So again, underneath, the shadow should be darker. Okay. So we come up. The highlight would be right around here. Now we do have an edge right here. You know, sometimes you don't want to do a line because it's actually just very subtle shading. And then this is darker here. There's some shading right here, but this thing kind of fans out a little bit. And then that goes into the face, right? Into the cheeks. And this is a little bit darker right here because it's tucking back in a little bit. Okay, we can exaggerate this. Let's say Let's make this a little darker so the highlight would come out a little bit more. All right. So that would give you the 3/4 view. Now, again, we'll just simplify this again. We can do something like, okay, my frame. Let's just go like this. Here's the tip. All right, do this, and then the nostril here, the wing of the nose. Okay, and then we probably see a little bit on the other one. And we could draw like a slight line. I mean, if you want to just go linear, which is fine. And then we're just going to shade the shadow a little bit. Just a little bit. And then we just quickly do the Terminator. Just kind of. So just like that, you know, you'll get just very simple shading and you'll get the shape of the nose. Okay. So let's see, now we have front 3/4, all right? Now for the side is a little bit easier, but, well, I wouldn't say easier because there's always challenges for everything. So here, let's say this is the tip of the nose again. Okay, and then we're gonna have the ball here, the wing of the nose right around here, okay? And then we're gonna have the nostril here. So we're gonna draw these lines here. And from the side, we see this line harsher right here, right? Because it's, again, it's the edge. It's like the ball, right? The edge of the nose. So it's rounding off. So that's why we have this crease here. And then we're going to have, let's say, the highlight right around here somewhere. So we're going to do the Terminator. And the Terminator, now this is kind of round like this. So it'll kind of be like that, like a ball. Basically like a ball. And then we shade that lower part dark because it's in the shade. And then we're going to go down. And then again, we need the shadow. Okay, so this is going to be dark. Okay, and then the nostril. Now from the side, we might have to see, well, depending on the nose shape, but let's just do a little bit. Right. So this person has got the nose kind of flaring out a little bit. That's why you see more of the nostril. Okay, so this tucks in. Okay, and then the shadow. So now, you know, again, you can start feeling the shape now, right? So we're gonna go, let's give this a little bit better shading. Now this is the ball, and this area is right here slightly darker. And then this fans out, here's the bridge of the nose, depending on how, you know, how high the bridge of the nose is. Give this a little bit shading, and now let's do the Terminator. Let's make it darker so we can actually see it. Start feeling the roundness of the nose. Try to shade this a little bit too. It's kind of wiggly shapes. And we can sharpen up some of those edges so you can see a little bit better, even for this. Okay, so if we were to do it again, the simplified version, let's go that, right? Tip of the nose, and then you're gonna have another ball here, nostril. Let me push this up a little bit. So you got a nostril here, this goes in, this is dark here. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of shadowing right at the bottom, and then we just do the Terminator here, going all the way around, and then slightly darker underneath for the shade part, and then we make that dark. There. So just like that, you know, again, very simple, you know, just minimum shading, you know, just to get the form. So, you know, this would be your minimum shading, and if you want to go further, you do something like this on top. And that's pretty much it for the nose. And again, just remember, you know, the most important thing is having this Terminator, and then where you see these creases, and those are the hard areas, just think of a ball, you know, rounding off, and that's why you see these harder edges. And if you're going to do a simplified version, those are the edges you need to put in. You know, that's where the line comes in. And then again, if you're going to do a nose, it could get really complicated because of lighting, especially with multiple lighting. You get all kinds of bounce light, and it might be difficult, to try to figure things out. So the best thing to do is, get some reference. Or if you can't, just look in the mirror, take a picture of yourself with the lighting situation that you want, and that should be good to go. Alright, so that's some of my tips on how you can draw noses without any kind of reference. So I hope this helps you, and I will see you next time.